Hello, this quick coaching video has been put together to help you with the summative assignment from report to argument. This assignment looks deceptively simple, and as a result, students often make it much more difficult than it actually is, or they have a difficult time completing it. So let me start by asking you to consider a key idea in this class. Critical thinking is deliberate thinking. Deliberate thinking means that you ask yourself how the evidence or the data or the facts that you have collected lead you to the conclusion you want to support. Now, this is generally backwards from what students have been used to doing in other classes. In other classes, it is usual that a student gets a question or an issue. They immediately, from their gut instincts or their background or what they've heard other people talk about, draw a conclusion. They form reasons based on their emotions or what they've heard or their prior background. And then they go looking for facts that would support those conclusions and those reasons. Or what they might do is go looking at facts, and then they put facts together that talk about the subject of the issue, but never really formulate any sort of conclusion. They simply give information about the issue. This particular assignment asks you to demonstrate your ability to think deliberately. So let's take a look at this sample assignment. Artichoke has been given the task to write a paragraph addressing the issue, what is one negative effect of the hookup party culture? Now, when you start a question with what is, you know that the person who assigned the issue is telling you that there are multiple negative effects. The effects are negative, and they want you to pick out one. You would not be able to write an essay or a paragraph that talked about how the hookup party culture is a good thing, because that's not what the question is asking you. So in this situation, the conclusion is quite easy. You would name what the effect is and talk about why it's negative. So notice that this particular conclusion starts with the intersection of the party culture and the hookup culture. And then what is the negative effect? The negative effect is it's responsible for sexual assault. So Artie got it right with the conclusion. He was able to answer the question in a debatable fashion. Then what he did was he simply followed that with all sorts of facts about hookup culture and sexual assault. And it creates a data dump. The reader has no way of knowing how those facts support that. All we know is that these are facts about sexual assault and hookup culture, and they are negative effects, but we don't see any sort of relationship there at all. So Artie's professor gave him an F because he didn't answer the question. He didn't tell how these things intersect. Okay, he told me they do, but he doesn't tell me how. There are no reasons. So step one is to take Artie's paragraph and to write it in its original form. And you'll notice that there is a downloadable template in the assignment. So you just open it and you download it, and it's in double spaced for you so that it's quite easy to work with. Now you look and you see that Artie's does have a, right here, he has a workable conclusion, so we're good with that. But remember that all evidence has to be arranged around a reason. And the first statement here, Garcia and Reber, is evidence. So there's going to have to be at least one reason between campuses and Garcia and Reber. What reason? What one single statement that is relatively short, that talks about party culture or hookup culture, and also talks about sexual assault problem and answers the question, why or how does the party culture, hookup culture, support cause sexual assault, is going to be inserted there. Now you have a lot of facts, and the first thing that you're going to want to do is to take a look at each one of those facts and case by case ask yourself, how does this fact support this conclusion? And of course, I've given you a downloaded think it through to help you with that, because that's the first step. You have to deliberate on each piece of evidence and ask yourself, how does that evidence support that conclusion? The evidence can be grouped together. You will have multiple pieces of evidence that support the same conclusion. So you could have 2 reasons, you could have 3 reasons, you could have 4 reasons. It depends on how you organize the evidence. Now, once you have done that, now you're ready to write the final paragraph. You can work in the same template if you would like, or you can retype it. But keep in mind that you have to keep the original paragraph the same. The only thing you add are the reasons. So if you'll notice here that I have organized the paragraph by adding reasons. So we have the first reason, we have the second reason, we have the third reason. So I've taken the evidence and I have broken it up and I have added it into 3 reasons. Once you have added those reasons, your paragraph is finished. You save your paragraph and you upload it. Notice that if this were your issue, you would write in total 3 sentences. That's it. And notice that the sentences all precede the evidence. I don't want any kind of editorial comments after. I don't need any explanations. I don't want you to add any new evidence. I simply want you to think deliberately and to demonstrate that you can insert reasons that show the reader how the evidence that you have been given supports the claim. Now, with the assignment that you have been given, you could divide the evidence pretty easily into 2 reasons. It's a little bit more difficult to do 3 reasons. And you can actually do up to 4 reasons if you deliberate carefully. In order to do that, you may need to rearrange the evidence or regroup it. And you may need to do that anyway because people come up with different reasons. So remember that the evidence that you provide has to be about the reason that you've provided. If the reason says alcohol, you can't put anything about, low-level kissing and touching in there because that's not relevant to that reason. And it's not a good idea to have 1 reason and 1 piece of evidence. You can do that occasionally. Maybe 1 reason only has 1 piece of evidence, but if you have reason, evidence, reason, evidence, reason, evidence, reason, evidence, you're going to have a very choppy and confusing paragraph, and you're probably going to find yourself repeating the same reason over and over again, just in different ways, which is going to destroy the unity and coherence of your paragraph. Now, what you will notice by looking at this is not an essay. It is 1 paragraph. And I am not asking you to add any kind of information at all except for the reasons. That sounds deceptively simple, but it's not as simple as it sounds because you must think deliberately about the evidence that you have been given. So the practices that we have done, those formative practices, were chances for you to develop that skill and to see what I'm talking about. If you did poorly on those practices, I strongly recommend that you make arrangements to work with our embedded writing coach, Donna Revellon, as you're doing this particular assignment, because this is the most complex of all of the practices. Feel free to send me email with questions, to ask for a video conference if you need to, or to work with Donna. She can be immeasurably helpful. Good luck.